All right, Jules, Kaylee, Kendall, and Darren. Um, let's go ahead and kind of look at your spreads here. Okay, so big picture first. All these spreads, including a sidebar from each of you, by the end of January. So that sounds like a long time, but it's really not. So let's kind of talk about where we're going to go with this. What I'm going to want from you guys in the next couple of days by the end of this week, is an action plan of kind of ordering your spreads. Like, what order are you going to submit them in? Submit them to the editors, and then the editors submit them to me. Or a simple way to say that, what order are you going to finish each spread? Um, Okay, so the idea is that you watch this video a couple of times, get your action plan together, and then also you've got to kind of divvy out responsibilities like we always do. So, if you say football is going to be done first, then who's going to finish up those interviews? Who's going to finish up the design? Who's going to input the information, and all that? And I know, with this group, Darren's kind of the main, not the main interviewer, but that's his pretty much his sole job. And then you've got Kayla and Kendall as well, who are, interviewers and have designed as well. And then Jules, obviously, one of the main designers in the class. So I do think there's going to have to be some uh, divvying or giving out of responsibilities in terms of design. I don't want Jules to be the sole designer, although Jules is virtual. I believe she's the only one that's virtual in this group. So that might work out that way a little bit, although she'll have to do some interviewing, and then some of you, yeah, the other students, Kayla and Kendall, are also going to have to do some designing as well. But that being said, you guys can make those decisions of what works best for you. Okay, so starting from the top, drama one, again, virtually done. Everything's up there, designed. I've got the interviews up there. We just got to do some tweaking to the design. Do kind of work with me a little bit on that design, and I can kind of keep leading you with my inspiration. The only thing we're missing is those pictures that Darren said he was going to be able to get. So that spread, as soon as we get the selfie kind of headshot pictures of the students who are already on the spreads, their interviews are already on the spreads, man, that thing can be submitted and done. I mean, once we get the pictures, it'll take like an hour to finish that thing up, and then we're ready to rock and roll. As far as football is concerned, obviously we've got a lot of pictures on the Hillgrove website, a lot of pictures that we've taken. So I think picture wise, we're pretty good there. Interview wise, I'm not really sure where you guys are at. It's going to be kind of hard to go back and interview uh, with that now, since the season is so far behind us. But I think that spread's virtually done now that I'm kind of coming back to my memory with a lot of it that we've talked about before the break. So that one can be knocked out very quickly. I could see drama one in football really being done by the beginning of next week, like Monday, Tuesday at the latest. And then, you're working on, starting today, these other spreads. So let's talk about those. Okay, NJROTC. Normally we have, I'm going to start with that one. Normally we have one spread normally years ago we had two. Last year we moved it to one. This year, because we're always looking for content, I think in theory we could do two, although there is just one listed on the ladder. So if you make some changes and want to do two, talk to Jick on that. I'm going to, right now, while I'm thinking about it, go ahead and forward to you, Jules, our contact for ROTC. A really, really, really responsive student who is talking, I've already spoken with, and can get us pictures for some of the events that they've done already, and certainly give us names of interviews. Now they have an event, they've got kind of pockets of things. They got like rifle, orienteering, they've got an academic bowl, and then some other things. You can kind of see these things laid out as modules, the size of the module depending on how much content is there. And go ahead and get contact. They have something coming up this weekend. I forget whether it was like an orienteering or an academic bowl. Your contact can work with you on that. Obviously, we'll have to talk to the photographers in class and go down and get some, kind of some action shots of kids in class. I think would be a good idea. Them dressed up and things. We got to figure out when something's going on, so we could get a few of those pictures during the day. And then that, that'll kind of be enough with that, depending on what content we get, because I think your contact's going to be really good. Remember, ROTC is very passionate about what they put out in the book, which I think is perfectly fine. So anything we do, we want to make sure we run it past that contact, as we finish up the spread, and make sure that they kind of approve what we put on there, who we put on the spread, and then they can also help us ID people. So that can be up and running. Your other two, are kind of interesting. Basketball cheer. Basketball is happening right now. And basketball cheer, I forget as the representative or the sponsor for basketball cheer, Miss Spiegel, or it might be Miss Bell. I don't know if there's been really any movement on that spread, so we need to get going on that. Make sure we have somebody out there taking pictures. We can schedule an event with my Katie. We would probably need to do that as soon as possible to schedule that event to get some pictures. I think that would be a really, really, really good idea. When you guys schedule that event, and let me emphasize it again, maybe go ahead and get that thing scheduled on my Katie today. I can help you with that. But make sure when we schedule it that we also get basketball cheer and boys and girls basketball. So all in one. We could schedule like a girls game and a boys game as they follow each other in a row. So that you've also got girls basketball up there. I know Miss Morgan has taken some pictures of boys basketball. Not sure if she's taken any pictures of girls basketball, but again, let's get a my Katie out there to take some pictures. Let's get a photographer out there to take some pictures, and then maybe we find a parent contact, that third person who might have already taken some pictures. And then hoop coming. I haven't had any heard any talk about hoop coming, when it is, what it's going to look like, and those sorts of things. It's probably going to look a lot like homecoming, where we just kind of identify students and take picture. We'll have Katie come out and take pictures of those students. But again, I haven't heard anything. If you hear anything, or as you hear things, please let me know. And if you could, go ahead and put on your to-do list to find out what teacher is in charge of hoop coming. And so I can connect with them and get my Katie out here and our photographers out here to schedule those pictures. So I think your challenging spreads is going to be, the most challenging, maybe like the basketball and the cheer and the hoop coming, in terms of getting those spreads off the ground and running. I think the other ones can be wrapped up. I know ROTC, it'll take, days. You'll contact them. It'll still take like a week or maybe 2 weeks to get that information in there. So you remember that you've also got, for everybody in the group, is that sidebar, the underclassmen sidebar. So those are things that you work on individually when you have that downtime while you're waiting on information to come in on other spreads. So make sure that you contact me and let me know, for all of you, Kendall, Kayla, Jules, Darren, of what you can need and how I can help with that. My expectation is that you guys watch this video a couple of times. Make sure you gather all this material, put it down on a document, get your action plan together, give responsibility to people so you know who's covering what. Other than that, I think you guys are ready to rock and roll.